Welcome to the Daily Dosage. I'm Pat Beach.
I'm John Lorge.
And John, I want to start off today's show by talking about the most famous yet irrelevant player in the NFL, Hank Baskett. He just got cut today. What happened?
It's a sad day. They had to make some room for Michael Vick, and when McNabb went down, they had to get Garcia in the lineup. But now with Hank unemployed, it kind of raises a question. Is he the sugar daddy? Is she the sugar mama, you know?
That's really some confusing stuff. But now let's get into our picks of the week in our first games between Houston and Tennessee. So, John, who do you think's going to win here?
I think the Titans, we saw them on Thursday Night Football last week, and they really did look strong even though they lost to the Steelers. Against Houston, Chris Johnson should have his way with them. And I think the Titans, although it won't be a blowout, it'll be a pretty decisive victory.
Yeah, I'm also taking the Titans. And John and I are going to have a battle this week. John went 13-3 last week, so we're going to see how well I do against him. And up next, let's talk about New Orleans and Philadelphia.
Neither team had much trouble in week one, but the Eagles did lose Donovan McNabb. With Vick still suspended, Kevin Kolb and Jeff Garcia will have to figure out the offense on the fly. If Philly tries to stop the Saints' passing attack, Mike Bell may just have another surprise week.
So I'm also going to take New Orleans in that one. You know, I just hope Reggie Bush finally gets on the right track. So what do you think about this Arizona and Jacksonville game?
The Cardinals did not look good last week, and now they have to go down into Florida and play the Jaguars. I really think Jacksonville, after a strong performance against the Colts, are going to bring it out. Maurice Jones-Drew should be able to run wild, and it's looking good for Jacksonville.
I'm going to go against you on this one. I think I'm going to take Arizona. Kurt Warner can't play that bad for another game. Plus, they got Larry Fitzgerald. He's definitely due for a big week. So, John, what do you think about New England and the Jets?
Rex Ryan's defense makes this rivalry even thicker, and the Pats won't have Mayo to stop the Jets' rushing attack. Ultimately, I think the poor performance of the Pats will inspire Brady and the offense to put up points and beat the Jets in Week 2.
It's kind of tough not to pick the Patriots there. But what about Oakland and Kansas City? Oakland did look, better this first week.
Yeah, Oakland definitely has improved, and I think they're on the right track here. Kansas City, they also got a little bit better this offseason, but with Castle coming back and still kind of injured, I'm just not sure how they're going to do. I like the running game of the Raiders, and I'm going to pick them in this one.
I think I may take Kansas City. Matt Castle, hopefully he's going to be able to play this game. Plus, I just was not impressed with the Raiders' offense. They're just praying that Jamarcus Russell completes one big pass per game in hopes that they'll win. So another big game this week is going to be Baltimore and San Diego. What do you think is going to happen here?
Baltimore and San Diego are still shaking off the rust, and LT really needs some WD-40, putting the arm of Phillip Rivers up against a regrouping Baltimore defense in a battle. If Joe Flacco can convert when needed, the Ravens will have enough to get past the Chargers in a West Coast showdown.
I agree. The Ravens' defense is just going to be too tough for a beat-up San Diego squad. So what about the Cincinnati Bengals and Green Bay game?
The Bengals had a heartbreaker, and Green Bay had a fantastic come-from-behind victory last week. And I think all that's going to add up to another Green Bay victory. The Bengals have to go into Lambeau Field, very tough place to play, and I just think they're going to be reeling too much from that loss.
Yeah, Ocho Cinco's been twitting a lot about this game, but I don't think that's going to lead to a win. So what about this Carolina and Atlanta game? Jake Delhomme is awful.
Terrible. Michael Turner was contained in Week 1, and the Panthers need to do just that if they want to have a shot. Unfortunately for Carolina, Ryan and Gonzalez have become quick friends, and the implosive Jake Delhomme will not be able to play from behind. Expect Atlanta to control the flow for 4 quarters.
Yeah, Delhomme's thrown 9 picks in his last 2 real games. So what about this Vikings-Lions game that's going to be coming up?
I don't think it really matters where they play this game. Although they're in Detroit, it won't make a big difference. Minnesota looked very good last week. They might have looked the best out of any team I watched. And I think they're just going to handle Detroit, who cannot stop the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to take the Vikings in this game. Adrian Peterson ran for 180. Brett Favre only had to throw for 110. So what about this St. Louis and Washington game? I think St. Louis may have looked the worst out of any team last week.
They're the only team that got shut out, and you have to like Washington. Washington paid big money to get Albert Haynesworth this offseason. If they don't stuff the run, you have big problems. I don't think the Rams are going to be able to do anything offensively. Defensively, Jim Zorn should be able to pick them apart. Easy win in Washington.
Yeah, definitely. So what about this Pittsburgh-Chicago game? Is Chicago going to be able to recover it all from Jay Cutler throwing the ball to the other team constantly last game?
Pittsburgh would love to have Troy Polamalu, but the attack of Harrison and Woodley will be enough to keep Cutler on the run all day. Matt Forte will get smothered for a second week, and if Roethlisberger can stand like the Statue of Liberty in the pocket against the Urlacherless Bears, they will have no chance.
Even without Polamalu, I think that the Steelers are going to get this win. So what about this Buccaneers-Buffalo game? Is Buffalo's offense going to be able to turn it up?
The Buffalo Bills actually looked good. They did not get the win, and they had a kind of falter late with that fumble. But still, I like what we saw out of them. They're going to be hosting the game in Buffalo. We know Tampa doesn't travel real well. And to me, Tampa Bay is one of the 2 or 3 worst teams in the NFL. I do think we'll see a Bills win this week.
Yeah, I'll agree with you there. What about San Francisco and Seattle?
This is going to be a battle. San Francisco looked good last week, so did Seattle. One thing I want to note is that Seattle's going to be without Leroy Hill and Lofa Tatupu were injured. Frank Gore traditionally plays very well against the Seattle Seahawks. I like the 49ers.
I like the Seahawks. Matt Hasselbeck, after the first quarter troubles, he definitely turned it on late, and Julius Jones did not look so bad. I'm going to pick the Seahawks here. So what do you think about this Indianapolis Colts and Miami Dolphins game?
The Wildcat was more like a house cat against Atlanta, but don't forget the Finns got off to a rough start last year too. I'm expecting some big plays out of Miami's offense, but Peyton Manning will be there to counter with a big strike of his own. The Colts D held up last week, and I expect them to be good enough in week 2.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to take the Colts as well. So what about this Denver-Cleveland Browns game?
We have 2 disciples of Bill Belichick here going head-to-head, and so it's going to be fun to watch. Now, I think it might be a little bit of an ugly game. Neither team has really figured it out offensively, and their defenses, they have some good coaches, not exactly great players, so it might be ugly. It's going to be close. We'll see what happens with Braylon Edwards going up against Champ Bailey. I'm going to take Denver Broncos because they're at home.
I think I'm going to go with Cleveland here. I think Brady Quinn's going to make 2 good touchdown passes, and they're going to win this game in a low-scoring fashion. And to close off this week's Pick'em session, what do you think is going to happen in this Dallas-Giants game? Probably the best game of the week.
Giants-Cowboys is the essence of NFL football. Tony Romo showed he doesn't need T.O. to shine, and Dallas wants to kick off things right in the new stadium. The Giants do have the best O-line, D-line combo in the NFL, however, and they don't need a big-name wide receiver to go 2-0 in the NFC East.
I think on that one, I'm actually going to go with Dallas. Do you have any closing comments?
This week, I'm going to be watching Adrian Peterson's assault on the 2,000-yard mark. We haven't seen this done in a long time, so I'm really excited to see what AP does, if they give him enough carries to get over about 150 yards, or if they start giving the ball to Chester Taylor more.
City of the swing, pop your trunk and bang. City of the swing, pop your trunk and bang. City, swing, pop your trunk and bang.